Hey, welcome to the Needlebug. This is Karen. Thanks for joining me today. If you are new to my channel, I'm so very glad you found me, and I hope you see something that you like and will continue to come back and join us again. If you're returning, thanks so much for hanging with me and inviting me into your home. It is a pleasure. There we go. It's a pleasure to visit with you. And I really appreciate you coming back and stitching with me or having chats or all that good stuff. So let's see here. Today, I switched projects on you. Wanted to keep you guessing a little bit. No, this is Timeless Elegance. It's the piece that Barb and I are stitching together. And I have a cat who is just thinking that he has to join us here and get into everything. So pardon my little bumping around because he's just a nosy posy and thinks he has to get into. He'll eventually lay down and be quiet, but you know how kitties can be, those little fur babies. So anyway, I'm stitching on Timeless Elegance today. It's on 28 count Easy Guide by Zweigert. It's a Heaven and Earth design. Barb and I are stitching this together, and she's a little bit ahead of me, so I'm trying to catch up. It wasn't necessarily one that I had in my monthly goals for January, but since I have just a few more stitches to go till I've completed my January goal on Stitcher's Retreat, I thought, okay, I can take a little bit of time and stitch on this one for today, or at least for this Stitch with Me video. One of these days I'll learn I'll learn how to talk. Get a little tongue-tied today. So I hope all of you are well and doing fine. Things are same old here. You know, I joke and with my husband and say we're Mr. and Mrs. No Life. He's as into reading books as I am to stitching, so he spends a lot of his time sitting at the kitchen counter reading on the Kindle, or on his Kindle Fire, I should say. Let me tell you what, Kindle Unlimited is the best, absolute best $10 a month I ever spend, because wow, he reads and reads and reads. I think every couple days you can download, you can download like 10 books at a time. Then after that you have to return one to get one. Well, he's downloading those 10 books about every week. And that's being conservative. Sometimes it's more often than that. Karen, put your glasses on here and then you can really see. As you see, I have changed the direction that I'm stitching on this piece just because I wanted to experiment again, and I have to say I don't like it. Um, in order to do my X's the way I do my X's, I have to stitch top down. I don't like stitching bottom up. Okay, so that means that over here, when I am on the right hand side of the row, I have to come up in a hole that's dirty. And I don't like having to do that, and it's difficult sometimes to do that. Like I said, I don't like, I could avoid that by starting down here at the bottom and working up, but I just don't like to stitch that way. I like to stitch top down. So I'm not exactly sure what I want to do. I did start this one up in the upper left corner. I have that all rolled up. You can't see it. I may just, this is a smaller piece, so I may just go back to stitching it that way, just because this, I just don't, I'm just not a fan of this direction. And that little thing needs to stay out of my way. Okay. So, I mean, you really can start in any direction, or in any corner. You just have to find the corner that suits you best and suits your, oops, sorry about that, suits your stitching style the best. Um, so I think for me, it's either the upper right or the upper left corner that I prefer. Okay, not too far. So I'll have to play around with this one a little bit more. My favorite is the upper right corner, but I just may on this one go back to the upper left because I just am not really enjoying this lower right corner very much at all. But what can you say? If it doesn't work, you find another way. That's just the way it goes. And there's nothing, like I said before, there's nothing wrong with experimenting to find what you like. My Stitchers Retreat is nothing but an experiment that has so many different, and I've said this before, it has so many different styles of stitching on it that you would not believe until you look at the back, and then you will see all the different ways that I tried to try and find that way that I'm most comfortable with. But isn't that part of the fun of doing these designs? Experiment, play around. And that's what I tell most people when they ask me about stitching on Heaven and Earth designs. It's like play around, see what works for you. Because what works for me may not work for you. So let me see. Oh, I wanted to look that up. People have asked me where they can get these stands, and I'm going to do a video on it, on the Nurge, Nurge, the Nurge stand. Um, I know that you can get them on um, Amazon. Now, they are more expensive on Amazon. However, if you're a Prime member, um, you get free shipping. Um, and that is probably the way to go. And had I realized what the shipping would be before I ordered it, I probably would have bought it off of Amazon um, as opposed to getting it off of Etsy. Uh, and right now, Etsy is the item is sold out. It's the Nurge, Nurge, adjustable seat embroidery stand, and it's the shop name is Crafty Imaginations UK. That's their best seller. They're probably wondering why they're getting all these orders for their for their stands, because I know a lot of you have asked me about them, and that's where I have referred people to. Um, I just love it. Right now, I have this hoop on the what's it called? Nurge adjustable embroidery table stand, but you can also use it as a floor stand. And right now, I have it on the floor in front of me, and it's the perfect height. Um, Hold on a second here till I count. Yeah, it's the perfect height for me to stitch on. I just love it. And it's great for doing my stitch with me's because I can focus my new camera better. And that is has been wonderful. Um, yeah, it's just a totally for me totally better setup. So, I mean, that is where you can get them. Crafty Imaginations UK on Etsy, and just search for Nurge, Nurge, adjustable embroidery stands. And they're fabulous. And like I said, I will do a video demonstrating them. Not sure if it will be today. It may not be till tomorrow or the beginning of next week. Um, but they're wonderful stands. I personally, and again, this is just a personal opinion, I personally like it better than the Hardwick Manor stand for the simple reason that it is just so much more adjustable. And I have a Hardwick Manor stand, so I may be looking to get rid of that. If anybody's interested, um, you can let me know. No obligations, but like I said, I probably will be looking to get rid of it because right now, this stand is the best thing for me since sliced bread. I just love it. But like I said, everybody's different. Everybody's price range is different. And had I realized, I would have probably bought through Amazon and saved the shipping, because on this table model, which is the one that you can also use as a floor stand, just to give you a heads up, and again, it's probably going to depend on where you live, but this shipping for me from United Kingdom to Pennsylvania cost as much as the stand, or almost as much as the stand. The shipping was $50. The stand was, I'll tell you in a second. The stand on Etsy was $67.68, and the shipping was $50, just to give you a heads up. So you might be, as long as they have them on Amazon, be better off ordering off of Amazon, especially if you are a Prime member, because that way you will save on the shipping. So, and then someone asked what hoops I use, because they have trouble getting their fabric so tight. Well, I mean, as you can see, my fabric, I don't know if you can hear that. My fabric is drum tight. My fabric is every bit as tight in this hoop as it was on the quantum frames. Imagine that for a hoop. There's a trick to doing it. Some of you may already realize, but some of you might not. What I do is, I use the Nerge hoops, and they come in, let me see, 3-inch, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3, 4, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 10, and then a 12. They have every increment that you can think of, and they have them in the thinner 8 millimeter width and the thicker 16 millimeters. I go for the 16 because I think that stays on the stand better. It gives it more to clamp down on. But the way I get it tight, the fabric tight, is I lay my bottom hoop down. I put my fabric over the bottom hoop, put the outside hoop on top, okay, and then I finger tighten the screw as tight as I can, well, not quite as tight as I can get it by finger tightening it, okay? Then I start pulling on the fabric, okay, to get it tight, and I pull every direction on the fabric, and then I will get a screwdriver and I will give it a turn or two with the screwdriver. Give the screw that I tightened by hand. I will give it a turn or so with the screwdriver. And then I'll go back and I'll pull my fabric tight again. And then I'll give it another turn with the screwdriver. And then I'll pull on my fabric to get it tight again. And I keep doing that until I basically can't pull the fabric any tighter. And then I will tighten the screw down until everything is tight. And the fabric does not move. It stays put until I am ready to move my hoop. And I think that is also part of the trick for keeping stitches even, not getting lines, to have that consistent tension on your fabric. Because when your fabric is that tight, you're not going to be distorting any threads when you pull on your thread that you're embroidering with. So that's what I do. That's how now this little end here is getting on my last nerve. But that's how I get my fabric so tight, is you just play around with it a little bit, tighten your hoop a little bit, pull on the fabric, tighten your hoop a little bit, pull on the fabric. And when you have it tight, then tighten the hoop the rest of the way by 6. And it will stay that way. But again, the hoops that I prefer are either the Nerge or the Hardwick Manor hoops. They both are equally as good as each other, in my opinion. And like I said, this is only my opinion. I'm not advocating one over the other. I think they are both equally superior hoops. I prefer them over plastic hoops. I don't know, I don't have problems with hoop marks with either one of these. And let me count here a second. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. I don't have problems with hoop marks, and I don't wrap them. And for as long as I've been using them, I don't have, okay, you're going to have a bit of a hoop mark when you initially take it off. Not a mark, but a crease. But you go back the next day and that crease is gone. I really don't have an issue with that. I really don't. Oh, sorry for the shaking here. This ending threads with 28 count is a bit of a challenge, and I still haven't found my chenille needles. God only knows where I put my little needle book that has my ballpoint needles and my chenille needles in it. It's in this room somewhere. But do you think I can find it? It's a case of that. Put it someplace safe so you know where it is, and then you totally forgot where it is or where you put it. Senior moments, my friends, senior moments. Because I have no idea where I put it. I've basically almost ripped this room apart looking for it. And I know it's over here someplace. However, I have not been able to find it. Oh, what can you say? What can you say? So that's my story on Nerge frames, or yeah, Nerge stands and hoops. And like I said, I will do a video. Oh, maybe I'll get to it tomorrow. I'm not going to promise, but I will do another one in the very near future on the stands and on the hoops, and I'll show you how I put my fabric in the hoop, just so that you can visually see that, because I know, like me, there a lot of you are visual learners, and it's a whole lot easier when you see something than when somebody tries to explain it to you. So speaking of that, it's a good lead-in to what I'm going to do next. One of my viewers, Fran, sent me an email, left me a comment on my video on how to start your threads. And Fran, I cannot thank you enough. I love this method. It is very similar to the method that, if you watch her, it's Milesy, Milesy. She shows a loop start with a single strand of floss from the front on an even weave fabric. And it's very, very similar to hers, but in my opinion, I think it's a little bit easier. I want to say Fran, actually, I don't know how I missed this. She read it in my diagonal stitching group, and how I missed that, I have no idea. It must have been one of those days that I had a lot to do and what have you, but be that neither here nor there. Debbie Turner was talking about it with another person in the group. So thanks to all of them. And again, I'm going to demonstrate it here, but I'm also going to make a separate video for it, because this has become my favorite way to start a thread from the front, no matter whether you're stitching diagonally or whether you're stitching cross country, or doesn't matter what technique you're using. This has become my new favorite way. So what you do, if you stitch like I do, where you stitch bottom left to upper right, bottom right to upper left, okay? This is how you would start it. If you stitch like top right to lower left, you would just reverse all of this, okay? So what you do is take your thread down through the upper left corner, okay? Upper left. Leave a tail. Bring your needle up through the upper right corner. Pull it through. Still leave a tail. Okay? Put your needle back down through that same hole, upper right corner. Leave a loop. Can you see that? There's a loop. Okay. Bring your needle up in the lower left corner. Now, Go through the loop. Okay, go through the loop. What I do next is pull that loop, pull it down so that the loop is flush with the fabric. Now go back down again through the upper right corner. Pull the loop through to the back. There's the first leg of your stitch. When Milesy shows this, the way she does it, she gets a double thread as the first leg. This gives you a single thread. Okay. Cross your X and move merrily along. And then you can come back and trim that tail as close to the stitching as you can. I love, totally love, love, love this method. Not my new best favorite ever since Fran made me aware of it. It has been the method I have used. I have not had any come undone because, of course, your first thought is, well, how does that stay in place? I don't know how it does, but it works. And I will tell you, there have been several occasions, several minor occasions, 1, 2, 3, 4, where I didn't get the loop down flush with the fabric when I pulled it through or was attempting to pull it through, and I went to undo it, and I had a heck of a time getting it undone. To the point where, thank goodness it was just a beginning stitch, I ended up cutting it and pulling out the threads and restarting because that puppy was in there. There was no way I was gonna undo that, because I think what happens is you're piercing. There are spots where you're actually piercing the thread, and that holds it. That holds it in place. So it works. It's fabulous. I love it. My new best favorite way. So, like I said, I will make a video just on doing that, and I will actually use a piece of fabric that's bigger than this 28 count so that you can see it a lot better. This one was probably a little hard to see because, like I said, it is 28 count as opposed to 25. Okay. So I think that's all I have for today. I don't think I have anything else new to tell you. Um, Things here are as things always are, Mr. and Mrs. No Life. Pardon me. So I don't have a lot of news to share, but as I said, I probably will not, since I have done this one, I probably will not go live this week. I will probably wait and do that next week. Um, my husband has a hunting camp meeting tonight, so I'm probably going to go into the virtual stitching room and see who's there and stitch with my stitchy peeps. for a while this evening, so that should be fun. That I do want to say. If any of you want to join that group so that you can get onto the virtual stitching room and stitch with us, you have to request to join. It's called Zoom Virtual Stitching Room. You will have to request to join. People who are in the diagonal cross stitch group are no longer automatically approved. They will also have to request to join. And the biggest thing to note here is you must, absolutely must answer the questions. If you do not answer the questions, you will automatically be denied. You will not be granted membership, or you will not be allowed into the group if you do not answer the questions. That also goes for the love of diagonal stitching. You must answer the questions. The reason we're doing this is, especially in the virtual stitching room, I have an obligation to all of the people that are there to make sure that when you're on there stitching, you're in essence inviting people into your home. And I want to make sure that the people in that group that are in essence visiting in each other's homes, that they are comfortable and that they feel safe. And I take that very seriously. I don't want people to feel like they're being picked on or being bullied or being condescending, or all of those, any of those negative adjectives that you can think of. We have to remember these are internet communities, and we like to, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt and think the best of people. However, and for the most part, that's true, and you can. However, there are those people out there that are not very nice, and they're out to take advantage of people. They're out to scam people. They thrive on being mean to people, and I don't want that in either one of my groups. So that is the reason that if you don't answer questions, you will be denied access to the group. Um, this is a hobby. This is supposed to be fun. We should not have to feel the stress of people being condescending or unkind. And I do know that I was talking with an admin of another group that was having those problems in her group. And I say this to anybody else that administers any Facebook groups. Admins need to stick together, and they need to keep each other. It would be great, I should say, if we could keep each other informed of when there are problems or when there are issues and there's somebody in there that is not being that kind, nice person, and that is being mean or bullying or condescending or sarcastic. because none of us want that. All of us want our groups to be happy places and places where you can come and feel comfortable and share the love of cross stitching or any stitching, whether it be stitching and knitting, crocheting, any of the crafts. So people are more than welcome to request to join, but please answer the questions and answer them honestly, or you will not be admitted to the group. So I'm going to get off that soapbox and wish all of you a great rest of the week and great weekend. And I will see you next time. So enjoy your stitching and have fun, and love to you all. Thanks for being the great group of people that you are. Thanks for all the lovely comments I have gotten on the last couple tutorials I have put up. You guys are amazing. You guys are great. You guys are the reason that I do this, and sending much love to each and every one of you. So have a great weekend, and I will see you next time. Bye.